this lecture, we are going to talk about the different types of digital media and what their features are. Now, before we go and talk about different types of media, let's ask ourselves, what is a digital media? Well, digital media is just a digital channel for communicating any information or message to consumers, right? And typically, you can think of digital media to be of three types. This is owned media, bought or paid media, and the third one is the earned media type. Now, what is owned media? Owned media is, as the name suggests, it's a channel that is directly controlled by the brand. And for an example, think of the website of a firm. Now, whatever the content that goes into the website is 100% controlled by the brand, right? And that is why it is owned by that brand. The next type of media is the bought or paid media. And just like the owned media, whatever content goes in through this channel is completely controlled by the brand. But the only difference is that the brand does not own it. And therefore, every time the brand wants or needs to use this kind of media, they have to pay for it, right? So an example could be advertising. The third type of media is earned media. And this is very special, and it has gotten more prominent in the past few years. And the idea of earned media is content that is created in support of the brand, okay, through the word of mouth effect. So think about consumers who are happy with the brand, and therefore they go out into these social media channels and they create a good word of mouth effect for the firm that helps the brand, right? So this is earned media type. Now, if you look into the picture on the slide, you will notice that we have done a customer journey mapping with different types of media. So if you look at paid media, it is mapped with strangers. And the idea there is to say that people who are not yet aware of the firm's product or services, the paid media can actually be used to reach out to such kinds of consumers, right? Once, however, the paid media has influenced the customers enough so that the consumer now wants to interact more with the brand, find out more about the products or services, they will tend to use owned media channels of the brand, like the website. And so these people are not strangers, they are possibly potential customers for the brand, right? And last, we have the earned media, where you can see it is mapped onto fans. And fans are really those customers who, because of their previous positive interactions with the brand, they are willing to say good things about the brand on their own personal blogs, for example, and therefore spread a positive word of mouth. So you can see that these different types of media broadly map onto customers at different levels of their customer journey. Okay. One other thing to note is that the effectiveness of one type of media really also changes the effectiveness of another type of media. That is possible. So as an example, think of a very great advertising campaign that the brand might be running. And because of this advertising campaign, a lot of strangers are convinced to find out more about the firm's products or services. So now they come to the firm's website, which is the owned media by the firm. And now if the website does a great job in engaging the consumers, and these consumers therefore end up buying on the website, well, your advertising campaign has been very effective and its ROI is high. But on the other hand, if the advertising campaign did a great job, but once the consumers came to the website, they did not find the website engaging enough, or they could not find what they were looking for, and therefore they did not end up buying from the brand, right? And that is an example where even though the paid advertising was doing a good job, it was not followed up with a good quality of owned media, and therefore overall you did not see success. Now, if we look at these again, examples of different kinds of media, there are traditional examples as well as more recent online examples of each type of media. So if you look at paid media, for example, you will see that a traditional advertising example through paid media might be a TV or an advertising in a newspaper, in a print newspaper, right? Or you could send flyers through direct mail, like the traditional snail mail. And an example of the online counterpart would be, search advertising, for example. We are all familiar with such advertising. Also, display or banner advertising that you see on websites. As you go, for example, to a newspaper website, you might see some ads out there. You can also see examples on social media platforms like Facebook ads. And we have all seen emails that are promotional emails and come to our inbox, right? So these are online examples of paid media. Turning to owned media, and an offline example of that might be, when somebody goes and visits a store, for example, they might see some, visual merchandising out there. There might be some brochures lying around that you can pick up, right? Or there can be company press releases. On the other hand, if you look at some online examples, well, the website is something we have already talked about, but you can also think of, the company's Twitter handle or the Facebook page that the company uses to reach out to its consumers. Another example could be a company-owned blog. Turning towards the earned media now, well, you can think of, the offline word of mouth between consumers, right? People, you're sitting, hanging around with your friends, and your friend notices a nice watch that you are wearing, for example, and they can ask you about that, and you can talk about that product, right? So this is a typical traditional offline earned media example. But there are, of course, many, many online examples of earned media. For example, a happy customer might say good things on social channels, in Facebook posts or on personal blogs, for example, or they might end up writing a good online review and giving a good rating to a firm's product, right? So all of these are examples of earned media, but in the online context. Now, so far, I have talked about earned media in the sense that consumers who are happy with the firm are actually going to create content that will support the brand, right? But this is not always the case. And, this is an example here on, this is actually a YouTube video, and I have provided you the link for that. I'll not be playing it here, but you can play it from the slide deck and see for yourself. This is actually what happened as a result of a bad experience that a Canadian singer had with United Airlines. Now, this singer was traveling with his troupe to go for a performance, and United did not handle their guitars and their musical equipment well, and as a result, there was some damage. Now, when this singer reached out to United in order to seek some kind of compensation, United did not treat them very well. And so what this guy did was he composed a song called United Breaks Guitars and put it up on YouTube. And, many, many YouTube videos don't get any traction, but this one did and picked up very fast. And once United realized that this video is actually getting so popular and resulting in a lot of damage to the brand of United, they reached out quickly to this singer and apologized and asked him to take it down. But guess what? He refused. And the reason, of course, was that he was a singer and the video was picking up and giving him good publicity. And so he had no reason to take it down at that point. And so the other side of the story as far as earned media is concerned is that it can actually be bad for a brand. And while it can be bad for a brand, there is no way that the brand can keep out of it, because consumers can create good content for you, supporting content for you, but they can also create bad content for you. And so therefore, this is really a two-edged sword, and the brand should learn how to deal with the earned media channel, right? Because of this lack of control. However, the plus side of earned media also is that if a consumer, if says good things about a brand, then such content gets a lot of is very valuable, because it is more meaningful for other fellow consumers. If a brand says good things about its own product or service, well, people are not likely to take it very seriously, because of course you want to sell them something, and so you're going to say good things about your product. But if some other consumer has had good experience with your brand, and your products or services, and if they say good things about your products, then of course that messaging is so much more credible. So therefore, once again, shows the importance of earned media, right? The other types of media, like paid media, on the other hand, because of the control that the brand exercises on the paid media, it is good because if you want to quickly scale some kind of a messaging out in the for the consumers, you can do that very easily, right? You can just pay the money, set up an advertising campaign, decide the specific channels you want to use, and reach out to the consumers, right? So that's the plus side. It is very quick, it's very scalable. But of course, the downside of paid media is that there are so many other advertisers out there, and because of that, unless and until your advertising message stands out in some way for the consumers, you may not become very successful with it very quickly, right? So again, so there is that expertise that is required to create this messaging through paid media in a very effective manner. As far as the owned media is concerned, this is really owned by the firm, as I said before, built for a longer term relationship with the consumers, right? And the downside might be that what the firm is saying is not trusted so much by consumers. But in any case, interaction between the firms and the consumers will typically end up only on the owned media, right? So it has to help the consumers get what they want once they have made up their minds that they want to investigate more thoroughly what the firm is possibly selling to them, right? So with that, we will stop this session. This Hello, everyone.